Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm well, Matt. How are you today?
I'm excellent. I know I'm excited to be talking with you today. We've had a little bit of a layoff from our Furlough Friday
Hmm.
video series, but I'm glad to be back with this one because there's some good news going on with you
Hmm.
that we're going to talk about. So that's exciting. I think it's exciting in terms of seeing how that provides the future for people who are on furlough and how they can choose to emerge from it. So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here myself.
So there might be some people who this is the first time they've watched this, and so
Hmm.
I think it might help to review where we've been. And that
Hmm.
was many weeks ago. You were placed on furlough, somewhat of a
Hmm.
surprise furlough from your employer, and we connected talking about how servant leadership is such a strong internal compass for leaders
Hmm.
and organizations. But I was really impressed with how you had used the foundation of servant leadership to keep your team supported because they were all furloughed too.
Right. Right.
And so you told us, I loved your stories about how your team is still cohesive, even though you're not working every
Hmm.
day in the office, you're on furlough, and how you're serving and supporting each other. And then it was awesome to bring in a guest, Ms. Jessica George, and she
Jessica,
shared
yeah.
how she's an HR leader who's on furlough, and she's choosing to take that time to become better, to emerge
Hmm.
stronger, and that was so cool to hear that it's relevant whether you're deciding I'm going into furlough and I'm going to go find a new career. Great, use the time to find a new skills and
Hmm.
and polish up your resume and all those things. Or maybe it's the plan to go back to your employer. You know that there's a good chance you're
Right.
going back, or it's been defined, and I'm going to return with new skills and say, look, I did something more than conquer 6 seasons of my favorite show on Netflix.
Right. Which I've
So
done.
so that brings us to where we are now. And I understand that you're at a stage now where you have some vision of emerging from your furlough. So I'd love to hear
Correct.
about where you are with that.
Sure. Well, I guess a few weeks back, our company sent out to, I don't know if it was sent out to everybody that was furloughed, but at least all of my team and I got an opportunity um, to request a voluntary severance package. And so looked at the pros and the cons, trying to understand, okay, so if I do this, what's going to happen? And ultimately, it came down to the choice of, you know what, if I take the voluntary severance package, at least I know what's going to happen. If I don't take the package, I'm still on furlough. The company has said multiple times that they don't know how long this is going to last,
Mhm.
and that there's no guarantee that you'll come back um, whenever they decide to move forward. So, at least with the voluntary severance package, I know what's happening. I'm no longer just kind of sitting on the edge of my seat. Okay, what's going to happen? And I can't make plans. I can't do anything because I don't know. Well, we do know. We took the packages and they were approved week before last, I believe. And so now I know July 31st is my last day with the company that I work for. And so on August 1, I start a new journey. And it's very exciting, mainly because I know what I'm going to be doing, right? There's no more of this, okay, what's
Mhm.
happening? I just don't know. And it was driving me crazy. At least now I know. And so I'm moving forward, and August 1, it's all in.
So I, I see the opposite of knowing where you're going, right, and have that definition is that uncertainty that keeps coming up in
Right.
furlough.
Yep.
Now there is the type of furlough where the employer says, "Hey, you're going to be furloughed 90 days, and we're bringing you back."
Correct.
And yours was not that. I don't see a
No.
ton of those out there right now. It's more of an uncertain furlough. We don't
Hmm.
know if you're going to come back. We don't know
Hmm.
when, how. Most employers are very vague about it for legal reasons, and I can
Yep.
understand that.
Sure.
Uh, and so it sounds like, though, that yours was like an ongoing calculation of the uncertainty
It
because you
was.
didn't even know you were going to be offered the severance package before that. And then
Yep.
when that came up, that changed a bunch of different variables, open doors,
Hmm.
closed doors. So how would you tell someone that is in a furlough and maybe these changing variables and uncertainties? What would you tell them that to how to navigate those uncertainties?
So what my team and I did was to support each other.
Mm,
So when we were still in those uncertain times, there were days that I was just happy as a clam, and I'm at home with my daughter and my wife, and we're doing stuff, and that's great. And then there were days where, okay, you know what, this is the end of the world, and how am I going to provide for my family if this doesn't work out, and blah blah blah.
right.
Well, I had my team that I could call and say, "Hey guys, you know what? I'm just having a tough day. You mind if we just talk for a bit?" And I might just call one. I might bring everybody together. Who knows? But having that support, having those folks who are kind of in the same shoes as me, um,
Yes.
but if I'm down and another of my team is down, but the remainder of the team are up, they're going to help us come up, right? And vice versa. So that's been the biggest blessing, I think, for this whole thing, from my standpoint of being able to manage the uncertainty. Because I could go crazy trying to figure out different aspects,
Mm,
as you said, all the different variables that are in there. So it was mainly, you know what, all this is out of my control. So I'm not going to worry about it. And 9 times out of 10, that's how things rolled for me. I didn't worry about it. But there were times where it just kind of all snuck up on me. I wasn't paying attention. And all of a sudden, boom, it's the end of the world. And then I could make a call, right? And talk with one of my team.
such a great point. You're activating a support network for yourself and for
Correct.
your team. And
Hmm.
I think that, on one hand, you can deal with the uncertainty by saying, okay, I wake up, it's Monday, here's how much runway I have with my family's budget before I
Right?
have to make a decision and all those things. And those are important, but not
Absolutely.
going at it alone. And I think
Yeah.
because of, I've never been furloughed, but I've lost a job unexpectedly. And one of
Hmm.
the first things I did was felt isolated. And I
Hmm.
didn't really emerge emotionally, spiritually until I connected with others
Yeah.
and learned that they were there to support me, and I learned how that I could support them, and that made the difference. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a great message, Scott. Don't go at a furlough alone. Connect
Yeah.
with other
Please.
people.
Yeah.
It may seem like you have all the world's problems and they are uniquely yours, but there are other people with you who have been there or who are in this journey who can serve you and serve each other. That's a
Absolutely.
great message, Scott. So you said August 1, the technical date of August 1 is a new venture, but I think you've got some stuff going on. So
I
um,
do.
tell me really quickly, what is that August 1? What is that new venture?
So the new venture is it's a company called Leading to Serve, and really the tagline is people before process. And our whole goal is to help organizations see the value in valuing their people. Lots of organizations talk about people being the best asset, but not too many of them really show that people are their greatest asset. And so what we want to do is help organizations take that discretionary effort, that effort that's above the minimum to get the job done, and increase that with every employee. When you can increase that, you're increasing productivity, right? So it ends up being a win-win. The employee feels valued, the company gets value, so everybody wins. So we look at it from kind of two perspectives. We can do it individually via coaching, or we can do it from a team perspective, kind of team building and learning how to communicate better, learning how to build trust, build relationships. So that's where our focus is going to be.
That's awesome. It's so important if there ever is or how we define a post COVID-19 world.
Mhm.
I think there's plenty of case studies going on live right now of organizations that are faring it very well because they valued their people
Yes.
before a crisis. And
Yes.
I hope, and I know that there's going to be an abundance of opportunity for you to
Keeping my fingers crossed.
create that new situation for the next crisis for companies to
Right.
realize, wow, check that out. When I put my people first, they put me first, and we emerge from crisis. instead of being in a terrible spot. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Where can people learn more about your new venture?
Probably
Website?
going to my website. Yep. Leading the number 2 serve.com. And
Awesome.
we've got all the stuff in there about the various ways we can help organizations or individuals to improve.
So Scott and I talked about maybe in a couple weeks, looking at July 10th, we are going to pivot how Furlough Friday looks. We are going to offer a conversation for folks who are on furlough to get together and create some of that support and that camaraderie and that sharing of information and resources that Scott's team has been doing, but open that to a broader audience. So stay tuned. We'll put some information on LinkedIn and how you can get plugged into that and get access to some free resources and some free peer support. Congratulations, Scott.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.